MyFitnessPal is one of the most highly used calorie tracking apps in the world. Today, I'm going to show you some of the hacks and give you some tips on how to best utilize the free version of MyFitnessPal. Let's get to it. When you open up the app, it should look something like this. And as you can see, we've got our calories. There's some step trackers, some exercise. You can see I've got about 11,000 steps and 174 calories burned. Now, if you do link your watch to the app, you're gonna see that it does track your calories, but it doesn't necessarily account for like a run, a workout, things like that. You'll also be able to see some of the weight progress, depending on how often you're tracking the weight, and there'll be some dates down here. It's a good way to kind of track and measure your progress as you go through maybe cuts, bulks, things like that. Then you can also see some of the previous steps if you just slide to the left, and you can see, the last month's steps. You can go through, track your history, and kind of get a gauge on how many steps you're typically getting in a day if you don't have a fitness device and you rely on your phone to track your steps. There's also other things like your sleep, recipes, all of that good stuff. I don't typically use these too often. If you look at the sleep, it's not going to really be super simple to track unless you have a device from your watch to your phone, but that's besides the point. You can also create communities and things like that. So overall, there's a lot of different options when it comes to using the app, but these are some of the things that I use regularly. First up, we'll go to the actual calorie tracking portion. This is going to be your diary. You'll just get there by simply selecting diary. I'll go to the next day so that way we can go ahead and start on a fresh slate. You'll see I can add food, and I have a bunch of different foods. Your history is a lifesaver. It'll make it way easier for you to kind of go through and pick out foods that you consistently eat. If you're a big meal prep person like myself, this is very helpful, but there's also some different tools that you can use that'll be helpful as well. One thing that I've been leaning heavily on is if you click the three buttons down in the right corner, you can see that you can copy from date. This is breakfast, but most of my breakfast is typically pretty much the same things. Breakfast is typically pretty much the same thing all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and use today as an example. We'll pull that up and you can see it pulls in all of the foods that I ate this morning for breakfast. This is a lot easier than putting everything in and hand jamming every single day. We'll also do the same thing for lunches. I meal prep all of my lunches. I meal prep too. So we'll go ahead, copy from date, and now tomorrow, those calories will be accounted for. So if you can't have your phone while you're working, and you don't have the time to input your calories while you're working, don't worry about it. You can do it the day before, you can do it before you get into work, or whatever the case may be. And if you're sliding all the way down to the bottom of the page, you'll see the nutrition app. You've probably seen this before, but this is where you'll see your calories and macros all broken out into one spot. You can see the protein is 117 for my meals. We can also scroll down and see some of the micronutrients. Now, one thing that I do criticize MyFitnessPal for is they don't do a great job of showing you all of your micronutrients. However, you do have some of the important ones like potassium, iron, calcium, things that people are typically low in. So going back a page, we can go ahead and start creating some recipes, and I'll show you how to save some of those. So let's say that we want to do my protein sludge recipe. Great recipe. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. We're going to do 1 scoop of Rise protein powder. We're going to do some almond milk. There we go. Let's say 100 milliliters. That's good. Then we'll do some PB Fit, which we're going to be doing the 1 serving. And once we go back, you'll see I have all of the ingredients listed in here. We're gonna hit the 3 buttons on the bottom once again, and we're gonna save as meal. If you save it as a meal, it gives you the option to go ahead and put in the meal name. So we'll just go ahead and call this PB Cinnamon Sludge. And you can see the calories, the macros, and everything are broken out specifically for this recipe. And you can also, go in and change different aspects of this. You can add directions if you want to add directions. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. You can even take a photo of your meal, make it nice and aesthetic, good for screenshots, whatever you want to do. So we're gonna go ahead and hit save, dismiss. It just said that the meal was created. Now let's say we want to pull up that meal again. We'll go to my meals, and it's the last recipe you created will be on top. we can go ahead and click in there. But maybe, oh no, we used 80 milliliters instead of 100 milliliters. No big deal. We'll just go ahead and click edit, and you can see 3 check boxes pop up to the left. We'll click on that, change it to 80, check that off, and boom. You can save it and change the recipe, slightly adjusting those calories. If you're someone like me and you use this app every single day, little tricks like this are super important. It'll help you stay consistent. It's easier than hand jamming everything, and it makes it so much simpler to track everything. This is why I'm able to create, shorts of me doing a full day of eating so consistently. It's because I can use apps like this to kind of just quickly add my recipes, add what I ate in a day, and keep things simple. And the simpler things are, the easier it's going to be for you to be consistent. So make sure you're stressing that consistency as you go throughout your journey. So that's tracking the calories, but there's different things that we can also use on here that are going to help us get to our goals. One thing that is underutilized in my opinion is the more button. If I need to know what my calories are going to be, or my protein, or whatever it might be, I'll just simply go into my goals and I'll adjust my weight. You can see here my current weight shows as 163. That's actually not accurate, so we're going to go ahead and move that up to 166.1. Bang, there we go. Now my weekly goal says lose 1 pound per week. We're not looking for that. We're just going to go ahead and maintain. Lightly active. I'm pretty active. I run every day. So I'm going to say active, but I'm probably fine if I wanted to go to very active, simply because I'm running every single day. Workouts a week, I really do 7 because I'm typically running every single day. So it would be 7 at a minimum, even on a off week where maybe I'm deloading. It would still be about 7 workouts for roughly 30 minutes. And that doesn't include like the quick pump sessions for like intermittent workouts whenever I'm deloading. So we'll go ahead and go back and go to our calories. And you can see my total calories, my goal calories have actually changed from 2,700 to 3,050 for my baseline. However, I've been seeing great progress with 2,700 calories, so I'm gonna change it back to lightly active. Check off that box, go back, and it should be 2,700. So that's how you get your calories whenever you're trying to adjust. If you're cutting, if you're bulking, you want to make sure that you're adjusting accordingly, because as you gain weight, as you lose weight, you're going to need to account for that additional weight gain or weight loss when it comes to your daily intake of calories. Now, it's not perfect. Obviously, there's a lot of nuances when it comes to what your calories are going to be, but in my experience, I've really found success using this method of adjusting my goals and really taking advantage of all the free resources that MyFitnessPal has to offer. Over the years, I'm going to say that MyFitnessPal has definitely taken steps backwards when it comes to providing those free resources. So I wanted to make this video so that way whoever's watching this has the option to make MyFitnessPal work best for them. You do have a ton of options on here. I mean, they have different reminders. You can have a step tracker. And if you go to the steps and the more column, you can actually see that I'm able to set up my watch, and that's how my watch and my phone link together. If you wanted to, you could even go to your weekly report and kind of track what you were eating. You can see I've had 11 sweets and snacks, no alcoholic beverages, 33 proteins, a bunch of fresh fruit, that's 31 different fruits, as well as some vegetables. I try to keep these things in my diet consistently, and I'm able to track this and kind of go back. I don't typically use this tool that often, but if this is something that you're interested in tracking, that's a simple way to do it. I'm actually done with my calories for the day when I'm filming this. You can see I've already eaten 2,779. Now, if you want to see what your progress was for the day, as you go into your diary for the day, you can scroll all the way to the bottom, complete diary, and you can see that if I follow this plan every single day, I'll actually be at about 165.1 pounds. I'm okay with that because I'm maintaining. I don't know how accurate that truly is, because some days I might be 100 calories under and some days I might be 100 over. As long as I'm keeping some balance there, I'm okay with it. So we'll go ahead and review today's nutrition. You can see my different macro splits. I'm not crazy about sticking to a stringent macro split. I kind of just get close. You can see my carbs are pretty close to 50%, my fats are pretty close to 20, and my protein is pretty close to 30. Nutrients, once again, we're back on this page. If you want to see more about your proteins, for example, you can see how they're split out by simply clicking on protein, and that's how my 208 grams of protein were split out. Looks like I consumed the most amount of protein during lunch, not a surprise. I had 2 meals for lunch, so that's why that's the way it is. So we're gonna go back to our diary, and I wanna show you one last thing. If you're falling short on a specific goal, let's say it's your fiber goal, you can actually go into different foods and see the nutrition label. So let's go to the old-fashioned oats here. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom. You can see there's a bar for nutrition facts we're gonna show, and that will open up everything. So let's see what the fiber was for my oats. It looks like about 4 grams. Not terrible, not great, but not terrible. And you can see that there's 10% of our iron goal in there. That's about 10 grams or milligrams. And about 5 grams of protein. But you can see the entire split of the entire 150 calories that oats cost you in your diary. And if you want the simple laid out version, just the macros, you can actually see the macros at the top whenever you're entering it. But if you want to take a deeper dive into your foods, the option does live there for you to see all of the micronutrient splits that MyFitnessPal allows you to see. And while I personally don't do it, you can track how much water you're drinking in a day. You simply click on add water, and every single time you drink some water, you just add it in there. About 16 ounces is going to be 2 cups of water. So if you have a 16-ounce water bottle, that'll be 2 cups every single time. I have a 32-ounce water bottle, so that's 4 cups. So I've had about 5 of those today, and I could just keep adding it on there. You'll see it adds all together. In my opinion, this is a little bit excessive, but if you wanted to, the option is there to track your water. However, for me personally, I think it's easier to just count how many waters I drink throughout the day, and typically I'm pretty good about drinking water, so I'm not really sweating it. The truth is MyFitnessPal is not perfect. However, it is a great and easy resource, especially if you're just getting started tracking your calories. This is just my opinion, of course. Some people like to use Chronometer, which shows more of the micronutrients, some of the vitamins and minerals that maybe you need on a day-to-day basis. But I've been using MyFitnessPal for years now. It's a simple and user-friendly app to use, and in my opinion, it works great. It's good enough to maintain a certain level of consistency without necessarily developing an eating disorder and obsessing over things like your micronutrient goals, which is super important, especially if you're just starting out. If you are newer, just make sure that you are tracking things as accurately as possible. Make sure you have a scale, at the house, that way you can track foods. And if you need to estimate from time to time, that's perfectly okay. Things happen, people eat out, probably have a life. I don't have a life, but you probably have a life. So if you want to, estimate things from time to time, that's perfectly fine. This app is flexible enough for you to meet your goals at your convenience. However, the paid version might have some benefits, but I personally have never paid for MyFitnessPal, and while it has taken a step back in quality because you don't get the same recipe ideas or some of the tiny nuances, in my opinion, they're really not even that beneficial. Channels like this have kind of made, recipe apps sort of obsolete in some sense. I mean, there's always cookbooks and things like that, but in terms of a calorie tracking app, I personally don't think it's worth paying the extra money for that. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful. If you enjoyed today's content, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, all of that good stuff. If you are interested in meeting some fat loss goals or getting started in the gym and you're having issues staying accountable, feel free to email me down in the link below. I'm doing some accountability coaching through my LLC called Trust Fitness. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to take advantage of it. I'll do a free 30-day consult for the time being as I'm trying to build up some clientele. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video, but don't stop here. Click on this video. YouTube recommended it just for you. And of course, until next time, keep it together.